SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Discover Covington County Hospital's swing bed program, offering comprehensive care for patients transitioning from acute hospital care to home. With a focus on rehabilitation, we ensure a smooth journey back to your home environment. Choose Covington County Hospital, where your health care matters.
You know, I didn't come here to preach to you today. I got a special treat for you this evening. A young man that you all know is Joe the Policeman from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. A young man that you all know is Joe the Policeman from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. I want you to put your hands together and welcome him to the stage. Big round of applause for Jackson Heights' own Mr. Randy Watson. Yes, Randy Watson. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, you can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all inside of me.
I think it's appropriate at this point to say, what in the heck is going on?
That is your intro. A little Randy Watkins from Jackson Heights, baby. Soul Glow. It is a Friday.
Jackson Heights' very own.
That's right.
Randy Watkins. Good morning to you on a Friday. Dave Hughes here on mornings. Richard out on Fridays as usual. Lance over in the booth. Doing weird stuff with the music. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, well, I had to mix up some stuff for you. You know, I was sitting around last night, and I was like, man, you know, I love the Randy Watkins clip from Coming to America. And I was sitting there watching that, and I laughed, and I said, you know, I got to play that.
Oh, it was perfect.
And then the Soul Glow, you know, right after that, where you got the soul, you know, the trumpet, and it's just so moving. And I was like, man, that'd be perfect for a Friday morning. So.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was absolutely
from
perfect
from the Richard Cross deal. So.
Yeah, just shaking it up just a little bit. You do what you have to do.
What you been up to, man?
Not much.
Done, I'm sure.
Barely, I think would probably be the appropriate word here.
Yeah, as little as possible. I mean, it is a Friday, right? I mean,
the bar is low, and I'm tripping over it. I'm still making it across, but I'm not exactly clearing it like a gazelle. Well, my gazelle days are over. I don't know about you.
I don't know about gazelling anything anymore, but yeah, I mean, like lounging around a pool, you know, and you're soaking up some rays, listening to some music. Yeah, that's my speed right now.
I got 2 words for you, buddy. Recliner.
Recliner.
Yes.
You could use it this weekend. It's going to be, you know, up in Corinth, 91 degrees today, so not bad. I mean, 5 miles an hour of your day will be spent fighting wind, but you know, 5 miles an hour, that won't do a whole lot. Tonight will be in the low 70s up in North Mississippi, and then again tomorrow around 91. So looks like the temperatures have broken a little bit. Great outdoor reclining weather. I'm not sure about you, but it has been much better around the central Mississippi area in the last week. I'm not sure about Macomb and Summit, but man, it's been pleasant. You'll have a little opportunity at rain, though, if you're on the coast. Slight chance of showers this morning before noon, then a little opportunity maybe before 1 p.m. again, so they'll kind of come and go. But it'll only be around 89 degrees today, have about a 10-mile-an-hour northeast wind. That'll help out. Chance of rain, though, is about 20%, so not too severe. Another great day to enjoy being in the southern part of the state. Slight chance of showers tonight, probably before the early portion of the morning, around 3 to 4 a.m. Things would probably die down if you're getting those showers down on the coast. Be a low around 75 tonight, so very nice. And again, a little bit of a wind after midnight. Not much, though, to really bank upon. And then Saturday, you got a little bit more chance of showers, 50%, and temperatures around 88. And again, you have that 10-mile-an-hour wind, so hopefully if it does rain, it kind of blows through kind of quickly for you. And then we have the Delta sunny, 96, 103 heat index.
That's why I chuckled when you said the Delta. I'm like, I know where we're going now.
Save the best for last, right? But not much wind, but you will have a little bit of a southeast wind. But that heat index value is 103, so it'll be nice and cooking. Tonight it'll cool off a bit, 73 degrees, nice little 5 mile per hour, maybe a variable wind in there. And then Saturday, again, back to the heat, 96 for the heat index value of 100, and a light 5 mile per hour southeast wind. So that gives us a look at the weather outlook for the state. If anybody has a question about your zone, let us know on the text line, and I'll dig it out for you. But,
let me just say,
hot in the Delta and mild in other areas.
Those temperatures, when you're at those kind of temperatures, even like the 91s that you were mentioning, 5 mile an hour wind is just stirring the soup. It's not actually accomplishing anything.
It's not doing enough for me, Dave. I can assure you, as long as it's a strong enough wind to maybe keep the flies and those things at bay, that's always nice. But I have a little fan when I sit outside, so that I can bear it, because when it's 5 miles an hour, you're not feeling that unless maybe you're on a hilltop, somewhere, and you got a perfect view of the wind. But yeah, my backyard, no, it's a pit like a lot of people's are. You got other houses around you and fences and trees, and you don't get a whole lot of wind back there. So.
And I'm sorry, even if you were at 5 miles an hour, I mean, on a really hot day, you can turn your hairdryer on and blow it in your face. You're getting a good breeze. It's just not cooling you off.
It is funny you say that. When you leave around lunch, I know most people get out for lunch and stuff, but the car, when you open it, it's so hot. And it feels just like a hairdryer hitting you at full force in the face. It is not a pleasant feeling, I can assure you. I don't know how those of you who use hair dryers, it's been a long time since I've used one. I don't think I could stand the heat like that anymore. I mean, man, it just zaps me. So y'all be careful out there. Even though it sounds maybe a little lighter on the heat this weekend, it's still going to be cooking enough. And we are not out of summer yet, Dave.
Oh, no. We've got a good month, 2 months worth of summer, and then we have our first false fall, then we go back to summer, then we have our second false fall, and then sometime around November we'll actually get fall.
Yeah, it's football season has a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. You never know if you're going to have the super cold or the sun in your face at 90. You get to, Halloween? I know North Mississippi, spending 20-plus years there, you never knew, but generally speaking, the coldest day of the year would be the day you had to get out and go trick-or-treating with kids. It was always raining, cold, and you've had some warm temperatures maybe, and all of a sudden you get that, brutal. So, usually it's around the late October when we get that first real just hard cold. So, yeah, we've got a ways to go before we get to that. Don't hold your breath, huh?
Well, you mentioned football, and we've talked about this before here on the show and on the air, on the network. I just feel like, hold on, buckle up. Back in my day, it just seemed like before you got to the halfway point of the football season, they were selling hot chocolate in the concession stand. People were showing up in their jackets, and it was cool. You don't get that now.
No, it's the hot chocolate, too. I mean, when you get to, say, the high school football games, that's always, late season, getting there and getting a hot chocolate, that seems to be the best. That and a hot dog, But hot chocolate is one of my absolute favorite things at the right time of year. Do you put the marshmallows on there, or are you just a straight-up cocoa powder man?
Oh, no, you got to have the hot chocolate with the marshmallows. Yeah. You have to.
That's kind of a necessity, huh?
I'm pretty sure that's required by law.
Gotta have it. Do you like the little bitty floating ones, or do you put the big one marshmallow? There's all kind of different techniques for the hot chocolate and all that.
I'm a weirdo. I like the little tiny ones.
I like the little ones, yeah. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, it's kind of decorative in it. They have a little bit of a different texture.
Well, if you put the big ones in there and they melt, then you have this coating of marshmallow slime over the top of your hot chocolate.
Yes, right, yeah. Yeah, growing up, I don't remember having like specialty hot chocolates and stuff. You just use whatever. It was Swiss Miss, Isn't that the one everybody used? I think. I don't know.
Yes.
I think that was the only one.
That or Carnation.
Carnation, yeah, that's
always
the
had
other.
one.
There you go. Thank you. I knew I was missing one of the big names in hot chocolate, the hot chocolate lobby. But yeah, that was today now. But people today seem to, you'll get like a blend or somebody's made some, and I'm not quite sure how they do that.
We have messed up so many perfectly good things in the name of commerce by deciding to make 72 unasked for variations of everything.
There are way too many choices, I think, and not that it's a bad thing for everyone, but when you know what you want already, you don't need all these choices, right? Just go ahead, give me that. That's what I always get. And but yeah, the choices in the world we live in today, I think it paralyzes us sometimes. We call that,
yes.
In finance, it was, paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
Too much information and never could make a decision. I find that, I have a hard time getting through Kroger in 3 hours now. Too many options.
Just go look at the different types of ice cream available now. Used to be you could pick from vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, or if you were fancy, if you were in a rich house, you got the Neapolitan and everybody just ate out of the chocolate side and left the strawberry sitting there.
Yeah, but that was the only choice available. You went, all right, we have to go with that. That's the ice cream available.
Yeah, we'll get that. And now they've got potato chip flavored ice cream. They got hot dog flavored ice cream.
Disgusting.
They got brain damage is what they got. We'll continue on this Friday morning, getting it going in style on mornings here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
The monitor switch lets you hear
Breaking news. Super Talk Mississippi.
Well, it's an all over the map sort of day here on Mornings Musically. Welcome back.
Yeah. Soul, and then you got Cajun.
No accordion yet, I noticed, but
That was in there, yeah. That
was in there actually, yeah.
Traveling Wilburys was the out, so yeah. Mix it up
very
a little
nice.
bit, yeah.
Very nice. I like it. I like it very
One of my
much.
favorite names of all time. Birthday today. You know who that was?
No.
Emiliano Zapata. It's a great name. He was. I don't know how to say the town that he was from, and I actually lived down there. This was a tongue twister, so I'm going to leave it up to good old Emiliano to keep that one. But August 8th, 1879.
Oh, wow.
Big time dude, too.
Very nice. And fun to say.
Yeah,
like
the
you said.
revolutionary. Yeah, Emiliano Zapata. Yeah, he's a good guy. One of the good ones, they say. And this was also on this day, resignation of one U.S. president. You remember who that was? Old Ricardo Nixon. Not his best day.
Ricky.
Old Ricky. Tricky Dicky. Faced with near certain prospect of impeachment for his role in the Watergate scandal. U.S. President Richard Nixon, he announced his resignation on this day, 1974, and he was succeeded by his guy there, Mr. Gerald Ford, who had some great pants and was a decent golfer, I think.
Gerald Ford was our only unelected president.
Mm-hmm. And we also had Roger Federer today, 1981. Don't know if you remember. I don't know this guy, Jimmy Wales, 1960.
Oh, yeah.
So you remember him?
Yeah.
American entrepreneur, Dustin Hoffman, 1937. So those are your big birthdays on the day. And then we had a 2023 on this day. I'm sure most people remember this, in the series of wildfires that engulfed parts of Maui Island, Hawaii, causing serious damage, killing about 98 people, making one of the world's deadliest wildfires on record, and opened up many a conspiracy theory and rabbit hole if you were paying attention during those days of what caused it. Why did it happen? All of these different things.
My favorite theory, space lasers.
Yeah. HARP or any of those things, but so pretty big stuff there. I'm not sure. I've seen not a lot of progress, really, I think, in that area as far as in the rebuild. I'm not sure if you have paid attention, but these things are just slow. When you have these disasters naturally, the recovery is so slow.
Well, and, I don't think it was Harp. It may have been Harpo, Oprah's company, because that was the best real estate deal that ever happened for her.
Yeah, yeah.
She went in and bought up a big chunk. And then they were doing an evacuation here recently, and she wouldn't let them evacuate down her road.
Yeah, well, rich people like that. And again, everybody has a right to make as much money as they possibly can out there, but you kind of need to be a good person when you make it.
Well, here's the part that is never discussed about that.
Well.
And I agree with that. Everyone has the right to make as much money as they possibly can. That is a basic right of the universe. It's also a basic right of the universe to try to be the least amount of a jerk as you can. And those two don't seem to go together very well.
No, entitlement. Once you get that amount of wealth, it seems to go to your brain a bit. And
as soon as the very first time, and I don't care what level you're at, the very first time you utter the phrase, "Don't you know who I am?" you're lost.
That's the giveaway right there, isn't it?
It's time to start working back towards normal at that point.
Do you know who I am? That's when you just go, okay, the best thing I can do here is leave. When you hear somebody say that.
Well, and that's what keeps getting me in trouble in life, because every time somebody has looked at me and said, "Don't you know who I am?" I always, every time, respond with, "Yes, I just don't care."
I just don't care. Well,
that doesn't go over well.
No. On this day in 2000, I remember seeing this when I went on some type of, summer vacation years ago, but in 2000, the wreckage of the Hunley, a Confederate submarine that was lost during the American Civil War, it was raised from the ocean floor near Sullivan Island, South Carolina. It was the first submarine to sink. 1864 was the year that it was sunk. And an enemy ship, the Union sloop, the Housatonic, is the one that took it down. So, but that was 2000 is when they were pulled up. But 1864, think about being in a submarine in 1864. I'm not sure that I would have trusted the tech quite. I've seen it. I mean, that was some brave souls that were willing to go down in those submarines of that era.
Yeah, and the worst part, I'm sure it was steam powered, which means there was a chimney. I don't know how they kept it watertight.
Again, I'm not sure how it all worked. It doesn't look like it would be possible. It's almost like you look at those old subs and you compare that to the lunar rover, and you go, how does that thing actually, how would that work? I mean, it looks like a toy, or how did it even get there? That's kind of the way I feel about those old subs, but they actually did it, I mean, they're pulling them up off the ocean floor here and there.
I think you have exposed a bit of a weakness in the English language.
What, my command of it?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's a flaw in the language itself. When you say a submarine sunk, well, that's its job.
Yeah, right. Well, it sunk and didn't come back. Right.
Yeah, but it's an inadequate description for a boat. Yes, for a sub, well, that's what it's supposed to do.
Well, we had the U.S. men's Olympic team. We remember the Dream Team.
Yes,
1992 seems like a long time ago. You had Michael Jordan soaring from the free throw line with his tongue out, jamming balls. And you still had players like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They easily defeated Croatia to win the gold medal at the Barcelona Games, and you would kind of hope they would have done that, given they were the best players assembled in the history of any sport in mankind. But think about it, 1992. That was kind of that changing point, right? When we said, all right, everybody else is playing pro ball in the Olympics. We're going to do it too. And you assembled this team. I watched a video of Larry Bird taking on, Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman and the whole Detroit Pistons. And you forget how big Larry Bird and how physical of a player he was and how much fire he played with. It was really one of those things you go back and watch a video and he's just, you got people in headlocks throwing them around. These are grown men. They're 6'8", 6'10". He's throwing them around like they're babies, man. I was like, I'd forgotten how big and how physical Bird was. And I mean, Magic Johnson, too. What a big, smooth cat out on the hardwood, man. That guy could light it up. and was just smooth, I mean, so think about that dream team. I don't know, could you ever put a team like that together again?
We don't have that caliber of people anymore.
Exactly. I just
out
don't think
there,
you
but
can do it.
Let me lay you the law of unintended consequences. Do you think us deciding to allow professional athletes to compete in the Olympics, was that the very first domino that was pushed over in a line that led to the NIL agreements for college players to get paid now?
I don't know. I've always looked at the college landscape probably differently because I grew up with a father that played in the D1, had a grandfather that played, and you didn't even think about getting paid. That wasn't even a thought. I mean, I can go back to about 98 when I got done playing. So, yeah, I would have to think that 92, maybe that dream team, if it had to start somewhere. I think you're right at looking at a specific pro event that may have broken the ice a bit. Yeah, I think that's that first time where you really start questioning amateurism and professionalism and those being able to cross over. It took a while, but, we are where we are now because of, I think, like you said, moments like that.
Well, at that point, if you look at it this way, every spot on that Olympic team would have been taken by an amateur the Olympics before that. This time around, none of them got a seat because I'm sorry, if you got the starting forward from Iowa University against Michael Jordan, who are you taking?
Right. I mean,
So they all got to sit home.
One guy I did want to mention before we go to break, though, who's got a big birthday, would have been 93 years old today, passed away in 2017. One of my favorites of all time, just the way that he was able to kind of make fun of himself and embrace himself. Mel Tillis, the greatest stutterer but singer of all time and comedian. President Obama awarded Tillis the National Medal of Arts for his contribution to country music back in 2012. And I wanted to, if I'd have thought about it yesterday, I'd have asked Rick Mize if he ever actually got to meet Mel Tillis. Rick, having such a connection with the Country Music Association, he would have been. That's one of the guys, if they say, who would you want to have a beer with? That Mel Tillis would have been. That's the guy right there. He was a cool guy. Very cool.
It was a cool story from birth all the way up.
Yeah,
his career was incredible. He was just an interesting guy.
I'm with you. I always had a lot of respect for him, and it was 90. He would have been 93 though. So.
Well, these days that's not that old.
No.
Honestly, that's where we're going. I still get amazed when we see someone that passes away at the age of like 80, and everybody, all the response is, "Oh, it's such a tragedy. It's heartbreaking." I'm like, they were 80. It's kind of how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, we're pushing that envelope even further now. Huh?
Yeah, but I still remember when George Burns was considered so ancient, and they were making those jokes when he was in his early 70s. So things change.
From the Seabrook Bank. MRC. Mornings with Richard Cross.
Let's get on with the show.
Check it out. Super Talk, Mississippi.
But on the midnight watch I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, the larger voice is calling. Whatever brought you and me cannot be forgotten.
I'm a hard rock guy. I think everybody that's been listening any amount of time knows that. But I love that song. I love that era of music. It was fantastic.
I like all the rocks and all the stuff of that era, honestly. Hey, I have one last little tidbit of history for everyone out there because, sometimes it's nice to know where things came from. Anybody remember the Wilmot Proviso? It was.
Oh yes, we talk about it every day.
Yes,
Lance.
Yes, exactly. There's a little history here. It's one of my favorites, and because a lot of folks don't remember, what really created the Republican Party and on what grounds it was created morally. The Wilmot Proviso, named after David Wilmot, in U.S. history, an important congressional proposal, the 1940s, to prohibit the extension of slavery into the territories, a basic plank upon which the Republican Party was subsequently built. Soon after the Mexican War, President James K. Polk asked Congress for $2 million to negotiate peace and settle the boundary with Mexico. In behalf of anti-slavery forces throughout the country, Democrat congressman and Pennsylvanian named David Wilmot offered an amendment on this day, August 1864. That bill would forbid slavery in the new territories. Thus, it really created a bitter national debate and an atmosphere of heightening sectional conflict. Despite repeated attempts, the Wilmot Proviso was never passed by both houses of Congress. But out of the attempt by both Democrats and the Whigs to subordinate or compromise the issue, the Republican Party was founded, and it was founded in 1854, specifically supporting the Wilmot Proviso. There you go. That's how the Republican Party was founded, upon an extremely bitter rivalry there and what should happen with the question of slavery. And the Republicans said, no, we don't want any more.
171 years ago.
There you go. So that's just, I like to be, when we have this debate, you're seeing a Democrat Party call the Republican Party Nazis and all these different things, and the racial cards getting thrown around, and Jasmine Crockett, this president only wants to throw brown people out of the country. And this debate just continues and continues and continues. And yet the Republican Party continually tries to make sure that everyone has got good work out there, that's not dependent on the government, that our borders are secure, and you have rights protected here of everyone. I just don't get the slanderous nature and the vitriol.
I just want to take a moment to send a personal message to Representative Jasmine Crockett. She listens all the time. And I just want to speak to her for just a moment, if I may, Lance. So just give me a moment. Representative Crockett, we in the Republican Party don't want to eliminate just all brown people, but nobody would cry if you left. Yeah. Just a thought, just thinking out loud here. No, we want the crooks out.
Yeah, I think that's the way you say it. I mean, get the bad folks out, protect those that are supposed to be here, and let's get moving forward, get this train moving in the right direction. But throwing the race card around, I think, is stale, it's old, it's a crutch, and I pray that we can get beyond that. At some point in the history of this country, we can move beyond that.
I didn't hear anything else about it, but a couple of months ago, back in May, they had a thing involving Representative Crockett in the House. Every time they were in a committee meeting or anything like that, and it was her turn to talk, somebody in the room, you remember this? Somebody in the room started playing a recording of a low battery beep from a smoke detector.
Man, that was viral. Man, every time she talks now, Thomas is like, well, is it AI? Because there's no smoke alarm in the background.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be real.
Yeah. Where's the smoke alarm?
I don't know if they
changed the batteries in that.
I don't know if they ever found out who was doing it. They were launching an investigation, but I think it was very much one of those things where, we'll look into it, and then went on about their business. That was hysterical.
Well, we do have a few sports things that happened yesterday, mostly the Thursday games in the NFL, which I'm sure everyone is extremely compelled to watch. You had one of them end in a tie, which, my opinion on that is always I don't believe in ties, but it was, a preseason game. There was a blocked field goal at the end by, I think the Raiders were trying to kick it in there and the Seahawks blocked it. But got a few games lined up today. But first of all, let's go through the scores quickly of Thursday, August 7th. You had the Ravens 24-16, and not a whole lot of stuff to comment upon. I mean, you had Ole Miss running back Ulysses Bentley the fourth, had 7 carries, 35 yards. Daniel Jones was 10 of 21. Not a great night, no touchdowns. Had 144 yards, and then Riley Leonard 12 of 24. Baltimore, you didn't see Lamar out there. It was Devin Leary and Cooper Rush. They completed 5 passes, basically. So it was a running attack. Not a whole lot going on in that one. That was a 24-16 dub, though, by the Baltimore Ravens. My team, love watching those guys play, but I couldn't tune in to that if my guy's not playing, And so that's where we are on that game. You also had the Bengals and the Eagles tied up last night. Eagles won that one 34-27. Joe Burrow, 9 of 10, 123 yards, 2 TDs. They said, that's enough, Joe. 157.5 quarterback rating. That's a pretty good night. As far as the Eagles go, you saw Tanner McKee get most of the snaps, 20 to 25, 252. Heck of a game. 2 touchdowns, 135 quarterback rating there to lead Philadelphia in the statistical category on the passing side. Not much else to mention there as far as on the receiving. Everybody had 52 yards, and, everybody had 10 catches. Not really, but they spread it around last night. It was a good time to watch a lot of different guys if you were wanting to see some of the young dudes play. And then finally, you had the tie game there with the Las Vegas Raiders. That's hard to say for me, Las Vegas Raiders, but I'm getting there. Seattle Seahawks tied at 23. It's a pretty good ball game. Drew Lock, 12 of 22. Jalen Milroe, 6 of 10 for Seattle. Las Vegas played a few different quarterbacks there, Aiden O'Connell, Cam Miller, and Geno Smith. O'Connell, though, they let him air it out a bit. He threw it 30 times in a preseason game.
Wow.
Yeah, and he had 205 yards. Quarterback rating was not great at 63, a couple interceptions. And that really was the way that game kind of ended, was sloppy. Seattle came up and blocked a field goal right at the end to end that one at 23. And then you have a few games going on tonight. If you're interested, Lions and Falcons, that's going to be in Atlanta. And maybe that one already happened. It says Friday, but it's got stats over here. But, I mean, I don't see it. That isn't right. But, yeah, Lions and Falcons will tie up today. You also have the Browns and Panthers. And then the Commanders and Patriots. So those are the games on the hook for today.
Maybe. Did it happen?
Yeah,
Did it not?
One of those is like you never know, huh?
Well, no one knows and few care.
Well,
it's preseason
right,
NFL
exactly.
football.
I mean, I don't know how many people tune into that stuff, but the Braves won one finally. They won 8-6 over the Marlins. Not having a great season. Had to hammer out 12 hits to win that one. The Athletics 6-0 over the Nationals. White Sox dropped one to the Mariners 4-3, and then the Pirates blanked the Reds 7-0. So that catches us up a little bit on our sports for what we got going on. And obviously we know everybody's practicing football. You hope you hear no bad news. Everybody's team is going to win it all right now. And what we need is everyone getting through this time of year with no injuries and hydrated, ready to go. So pulling for everybody and thinking about all you guys out there. I know you are having fun sweating it out, living your dream. Have a blast, guys. Have a blast. We're rooting for you. Everybody, high school football starts soon. You get some ball games in the 22nd, 23rd of August, which is MAIS, and then the MHSAA schedule will pick up the next week, full schedule. And, again, we're doing Hartfield here. Borky and JT will be doing the Hartfield game. That will be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Hartfield has been somewhat of a juggernaut in the last 4 to 5 years, and we're very happy to have those guys under the belt, and it will be a lot of fun listening to JT and Borky do Hartfield football. We will be doing our high school football scoreboard show those Friday nights as well, starting at the end of the month. And, man, it's going to be here before you know it, Dave.
Yeah, it is, and I'm hoping that you're taking a lot of naps now and getting rested up and ready.
Yeah. Hey, and I don't know. I know Macomb. How is Macomb? You have a little bit more, knowledge of what's going on. They've had some pretty good teams in the last few years, and I'm sure that it will be another sprint to the finish line. But I didn't know if you knew much about your Macomb Tigers down there.
I don't want to jinx anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll go this far. I'll say you can expect a similar level of performance.
Good.
That's
Yeah,
what
they've
I
been
say.
solid. They've been, and then Brookhaven is back, and Park Lane is playing at a high level. You got a lot of good football happening down in that neck of the woods.
North Pike.
North Pike. Yeah, I don't want to leave anyone out.
We got to talk. Well, I can literally step over here to the studio window, look out, and my gaze falls upon the campus of North Pike High School. It's right. They will literally walk across the street and throw things at me if I leave them out.
Yeah, well,
and of course,
don't do that. Yeah.
We also carry North Pike football on SuperTalk Pike County 93.5. We've got everybody.
We got so many great games every Friday night. Honestly, if y'all haven't looked at the lineup, a little bit of everything out there on Friday Night Football.
Most definitely. When we come back, you might be able to afford to do the grand tour and attend one of all of the games in the state. As long as you scratch off the right numbers or you pick the right numbers for your ticket, it's lottery time next here on Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here.
From Lavette Glass.
got everything you need to know to start your day. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and the SuperTalk Mississippi app. Now, here's more with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah, baby. Better believe it. It's time for your lottery update on this Friday morning. Brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery, and we've got some good news to spread around, starting with the fact that there was a jackpot winner in Lotto America. Now, the bad part about that is it wasn't in Mississippi. It was a ticket purchased in Vermilion, South Dakota. One of the 12 residents of South Dakota bought a ticket. They matched 5 out of 5 Lotto balls, and the Star Ball won $4.19 million, a cash lump sum value of $1.9 million back on Wednesday at the drawing. The estimated jackpot for tomorrow's drawing, $2 million. It resets. That's the baseline for Lotto America. Estimated cash value on that $2,900,000. Those numbers, the winning ones that got somebody a big payday in South Dakota for Wednesday, 26, 29, 30, 33, 40, Star Ball 1, and the All-Star bonus multiplier was 2. Our big surging jackpot right now is Powerball. No jackpot winner on Wednesday. The estimated jackpot for tomorrow night's drawing, $482 million. The estimated cash value, $218.9 million. The winners, or the numbers rather, that didn't give us a big winner on Wednesday, 15, 27, 43, 45, 53. The Powerball 9 and the Power Play multiplier was 2. Again, the next drawing on that tomorrow night. Double play, the numbers that were drawn on Wednesday, 9, 19, 21, 33, 46, and the Powerball 23. Mega Millions, no jackpot winner Tuesday. The next drawing is tonight. $166 million, the jackpot for tonight's drawing. Estimated cash value on that, $75.2 million. On Tuesday, they drew the numbers of 12, 27, 42, 59, 65, and the Mega Ball was 2. Mississippi Match 5, no jackpot winner. Last night's drawing, 7, 8, 9. I love it when we have the numerical sequences like that in the numbers. 7, 8, 9, 20, and 23. Estimated jackpot for tonight's drawing on the Mississippi Match 5, $64,000. Cash 3, Cash 4, Fireball, and Cash Pop. Yesterday, the midday drawing, 325. That's 325. That was the 3 numbers drawn. The evening numbers were 997. Cash 4, the numbers were 9660 on the midday drawing. 5313 on the evening drawing. For Fireball, middle of the day, they picked a 2. Last night, they picked a 3. And for Cash Pop, the midday drawing was 4. The evening drawing was 10. Talking about that Powerball jackpot, $482 million estimated jackpot. Man, lottery players in July, 4 players took home $400,000 in cash prizes. One player got $150,000 because they won $50,000 and picked the $1 power play option with the 3x multiplier. 2 others, one from Corinth and one from Gaucher, doubled $50,000 wins to $100,000 each with power play. Powerball tickets, $2 a piece. Add power play for $1, and that can mean big bucks. So keep that in mind when you go to get your tickets. Winners from yesterday, Cash 4. Players from Canton and Hattiesburg each won $2,600. Players from Columbia and Tylertown each won $2,700. Bought from 2 different locations in Columbia on those 2. Cash Pop, We had players yesterday from South Haven and Pickens who each won $1,250. Match 5, Natchez man won $800, a McNeil man won $830, and a Columbus man won $848. Mega Millions, Madison woman won $2,000 on a ticket. You don't have to hit the big jackpot to come away a big winner. I want you to take that from this whole segment that we do every time. $2,000 would be nice, wouldn't it? Well, somebody won that yesterday in Madison. $5 gold bar bingo scratch-off ticket. A Richton man won $5,000. $20 colossal cash. A Spokane, Washington man won $1,000 on a ticket he bought in McGee, Mississippi. Love it. And the $20 200X cash blitz scratch-off. Players from Pascagoula, Florence, and Mobile, Alabama each won $1,000 on tickets, and a Madison woman won $2,000 on a ticket. The $20 200X cash blitz winners. Your winning ticket is waiting for you. Your mission is to go find it. That's all you got to do. Coming up next, we have news from Fox News, Super Talk Mississippi News, and then hour number 2 of mornings here on Super Talk Mississippi. Keep it here.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Reaching across the state and across the aisle. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Super Talk Mississippi Mornings. Dave Hughes with you on this Friday morning in this hour of Mornings with Richard Cross, even if he's not here. Brought to you by MWG Employer Services. MWG Employer Services can provide you with a full range of employer services. And the best part, a custom plan that fits you and your business, because not everyone is equal in that respect in terms of what they need, the help that they require. So MWG Employer Services deals with you and your business directly. You can call them at 601-206-7966, or you can go to mwgemployerservices.com for more information. All right, I'm going to tap into the financial brain, but in a weird way, Lance.
I want to throw one thing out there before we get super serious. I have to give a shout-out to my boys at Nona's. I got a text yesterday. I said, "Hey, man, do y'all got the bologna today?" And he's like, "Oh, of course, but I've got a concoction that we've made up just for you, and if you like it, we're going to put it on the menu." I said, "All right." And so I made my way over there for lunch, and he says, "All right, what I'm doing," and Thursday's fried pork chop day, and they have amazing fried pork chops. So he says, "All right, what we've made for you today is we've taken a thick cut piece of bologna and we sliced it and butterflied it, and we jammed a fried pork chop in there, and then we threw bacon on this. So we have call it the Three Little Piggies. So you can add stuff like, lettuce and onion and all that. But I just went with the meat and the bread yesterday, little mayonnaise. Man. But the Three Little Piggies, if you're looking for a fried pork chop bologna bacon sandwich, guys, go give it a ride.
Who isn't?
Yeah, who isn't? Your cardiologist will be looking for you right after, but definitely give it a try. Wanted to tell them thank you so much. What a delicious treat that was for a Thursday.
And before we get to the financial thing, I do have a question for today. I want to ask the C Spire text line army once again, because I want your opinion. We talk about music all the time. You and I talk about music all the time. But here is my question. All genres, all everything. What is the worst song ever?
Ooh.
Not the best. The worst. The one that if you never heard it again, you'd pay someone $20. I mean, it is just absolutely awful, drives you crazy. And I'll go first because when I was younger, my parents took me down to Disney World. We got on the It's a Small World ride. The ride stalled. I was within sight of the exit to get away from the caterwauling dolls, and the ride stalled, and we sat there for 45 minutes. My dad literally had to grab... Exactly. My dad literally had to grab my collar because I started trying to climb out of the little boat to wade out just to get away from it. So my answer is It's a Small World.
I'm going to have to ride with you on that. I remember vividly as a child riding that ride, and that song was like a brain worm. It just sticks with you. I can't imagine being marooned there for 45 minutes having to hear that out of tune junk being played.
In case you've ever wondered,
Calgon, take me away.
In case you've ever wondered, that experience made me the man I am today.
And that's another great question. Name one experience in your life that, when you were a child, that you remember today that definitely changed the way you saw the world, maybe even made you who you are.
Yeah, and I've got the same answer to both questions, so it works out great. All right, now put your financial brain in. Unplug your other one. Unplug the three little piggies.
Creative one, right? Yeah, not the one, not commercials I send you and Richard.
We are not. Yeah, that was beautiful last night, by the way. We have something that's not getting a ton of reporting done on it. We're hearing about the tariffs all day, every day. But there is something tariff-wise that I think is going to make a bigger splash than anything else, and it's not getting a ton of coverage. I don't know if you heard about this. The Trump administration has placed a 39% tariff on 1 kilogram and 100-ounce gold bars. Yeah. If you're bringing gold bars into the country, it's a 39% tariff. Now, the price of gold has already spiked. A lot of experts saying it's going to continue going up. But this is an interesting move for a lot of different reasons, isn't it?
It is. We had during Roosevelt that era where you had the confiscation of gold, and it was a penalty to hold it. You had to turn it in. The government would give you its fair value, as they stated, and then repegged it, to wipe out lots of debt. It was a very handy tool in the toolbox in that era of the Great Depression, and it was used effectively. A lot of people look at that and go, well, the government could always do that again. Probably not in that format, Dave, but this is another way to look at it. Sure, is you want to press the value of gold up arbitrarily, then you create some type of pressure point. This would be that, where people, oh wow, this is going to push gold up 30-something. That's a guaranteed rate of return. So I think you would see continuous buying of gold. Again, I would not go out and buy it personally. I would talk to your financial advisors and see what they think about the long-term horizon there, because of course anything that runs up can always come back quickly. Gold is not one I've ever looked at as a profit maker. It's an inflation hedge and it's a safety peg. So if you're creating a volatility mindset with it, that doesn't happen very often in precious metals. There was at one time, probably about a decade or so ago, where silver seemed to have a lot of short interest. But there are a lot of tools out there that have kept, say, precious metals in a range where, they're affordable. But things like this could definitely create a baseline in which people rush to gold and go, wow, okay, we can make money off of it. And, that would definitely continue that momentum if you continually have, investors wanting to buy. I mean, that's the real trick there, right? Scarcity is your friend if you want prices to go up.
Well, and I do want to point out that the two specific kinds, the tariff doesn't apply to gold coins or anything else.
Right, not collectibles, right.
No, specifically on 1 kilogram and 100-ounce gold bars. Those are the two forms of gold, the two delivery methods of gold that primarily drive the COMEX. Yeah. They drive the price, and most of that comes out of Switzerland.
It's interesting. The gold world is very it's a lot deeper than you think. It's similar, like diamonds. You have kind of, for a long time, you had one owner. The one group that really, De Beers, they owned everything.
De Beers,
yeah, they owned everything. Yeah. And so you look at it, it's kind of like a cabal. And oil, you have so many producers. But gold is a little bit harder to figure out because one thing about gold is it doesn't necessarily spoil. It's going to be there. They've dug gold out of the ground for thousands and thousands of years, but yet there's only enough gold that we've ever found to fill up this room if we melted it all together. So we've always had this mindset that there's not that much gold out there. What if there is more? And, so we're finding it all the time. I mean, so a lot of the mining records, as I did a lot of research on the gold world, really only go back a few hundred years. Russia and more developed countries, but there's not a whole lot there to show how much gold China dug out of the ground for 3,000 years, or India. So you have a lot of trinkets and gold and things and temples that are what we would consider art, but they are gold. And these were mined thousands of years ago. So figuring out how much
with
gold,
Egypt.
Figuring out how much gold there is a lot more difficult than you think.
Yeah. But here's the question, and I know I have a simplistic view of this because I got 32 cents. But the U.S. government has the value of gold pegged at $42.22 per troy ounce. Mm-hmm. It's way up over that now.
Yeah.
That was put into effect in 1973. Mm-hmm. Depending on whether or not, I don't know that they ever went and checked like they said they were going to, but whether or not Fort Knox is still full of gold, couldn't we readjust the value of gold in the consideration of the U.S. government and wipe out some debt?
I believe that's what you're doing. Again, it's similar to what Roosevelt pulled, except you're not confiscating gold and being forced to push it back to the government where they'll hand you a check for what you had, and then you got to go back and repurchase it at a higher price later. It's similar, though. Yes, if the gold, whether it's in Fort Knox or not, what really matters is who holds the certificates for gold. If the gold might not be there, it could be in some kind of gold depository in Malaysia in a mountain to keep it safe. As long as you hold the certificates that you are the rightful owner of that gold, yes, it's a commodity just like anything else. So that would be your point. Yes, I believe that's exactly one of the mechanisms Trump is using to try to erase some of this deficit.
All I know is point out anything that cost $42 52 years ago that still costs $42.
Again, it's not a fair pricing in there. It's a stated style pricing, and it's controlled generally.
Yes, and apparently poorly. So just be on the lookout. We may see some pretty earth-shattering changes coming in the gold market in the near-term future. At the bottom of the hour, Gregg Harper joins us.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross. What's up?
Let's get the show going.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back. Super Talk, Mississippi. Mornings on a Friday morning. Dave Hughes here. And as I said right at the end of the last segment, former Congressman Gregg Harper joins us in the next segment to talk about what's going on and get his perspective as someone who has been there as to what's going on in Washington. And I see some people calling it chaos. I believe it is a controlled chaos directed for a purpose. One of the big conversations right now is about Trump sending the National Guard and other federal agencies into Washington, D.C. Here's a fun fact for you, Lance. Every story I've seen about Washington, D.C. and the crime is pointing to the stats saying that crime is down. I don't know where you're getting all this. Crime is down this year from last year. Well, the reports of crime are down. But there's a problem with that. Back in May, this did not get a lot of coverage outside of Washington, D.C. for obvious reasons. Police Commander Michael Pulliam was placed on administrative leave in mid-May. Do you know why? Well, The police union in Washington, D.C. Says that all of the police supervisors, and him specifically, were manipulating crime data to make it appear that violent crime had fallen since last year, when in fact it had not. They were taking felonies and putting them in the books as misdemeanors. So, yeah, if you had people doing that, and it hasn't been proven yet, they're still working through the investigation, but if that was the case, yeah, of course the crime numbers are down. That doesn't mean the crime is down. When I hear the reports of America in general talking about crime is down, I don't understand what the big deal is. Crime is down. You have to realize those are the FBI reporting numbers. It is not mandatory for law enforcement agencies to report to the FBI. There are some places, some municipalities, some counties, whatever, that don't report their numbers at all. So those don't even get added in. So it's a little bit misleading to just go by the stats on this particular issue because, well, there's some skullduggery afoot, I believe is the correct phrase to use here. So as a result, President Trump is sending federal help in to try to get crime under control. It's going to be interesting. And the fascinating part, Mayor Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C., approved the Trump administration's request to send in federal help to get crime under control. That's very unusual from a very diehard Democratic elected official saying to President Trump and his administration, yeah, y'all come in, help us out. That's probably the best indicator I've seen so far of just how bad things are.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yes. Yeah. General Akbar. Admiral Akbar. That's right.
That's what that makes me feel like when I hear a Democrat saying, yes, bring in the National Guard to help resolve some of the high crime. Because generally speaking, crime pays.
Yes.
There's a lot of money that gets poured into a rabbit hole called crime, fighting crime. And as you said, those numbers, they're not always reported. They're not always accurate. They're not always honest.
Right.
And, maybe you're reporting things a little light in the loafers there, so you don't have to actually clean up crime. You don't have the National Guard coming in and helping you out. Maybe you just want your slice of the pie and to be left alone. So let's fudge these numbers a little bit.
Well, and it's an even more basic thing in this particular instance because Washington, D.C. is overwhelmingly Democratic. Okay? Mayor Muriel Bowser is about as Democratic as you could possibly be. I don't think you can go any further to the left than Muriel Bowser. There's a lot of political stock in not admitting how bad you've let things get.
Sure. Well, we had that in Jackson.
Yes.
I live here. I watched a mayor basically say, while the city's burning and the roads are buckling and the water is boiling and people can't take a shower, there's nothing to see here, man. We're doing a great job.
I got to say, by the way,
that's why you got
days.
John Horn in there now looking at this going, hey, man, we got to get our arms around this mess.
We're
working on it.
I have always admired John Horn. I like him. I've interviewed him a few times. Great guy, sharp as a tack, and he has not let me down since he took over the mayor's office in Jackson. He's shaking it like a terrier with a rat, and doing a fantastic job. We had the story this week that he announced they're putting the Civil Service Commission back into effect in Jackson, which immediately brings up the question, wait, there wasn't a Civil Service Commission?
Yeah, what was going on here? There's a lot of head scratchery, with that kind of stuff.
Well, that's the way it works.
And I think you're seeing that in many big cities in the country that have had the issue of COVID. Then you had the woke issues, you had the homeless issues, you had all these things that seemingly there was a paycheck involved somewhere to create this chaos. And you've got to unwind this mess. It's got to be unwound, and people need to be safe. You need to be able to go into a major city and not worry about getting carjacked or a gun held to your head at a gas station or whatever it may be. This has got to stop. And if this is what it takes is to bring in the National Guard to clean it up, bring them on. Bring
Bring them in, take care of business. Now, this is only for 7 days, by the way, but they said right up front that could very well be extended. And I expect it to be extended.
Once the boots are on the ground, once they're there, it's like, well, we're doing a good job here, and let's keep it up.
Talking about leaders around the country and dealing with major metropolitan areas, there are many different approaches, but I think one of them, let's see how this plays out. Because, well, I don't know if you heard what the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, said in a press conference. He came right out and he said that the finances of the city of Chicago are, and I quote, at the point of no return, and there are going to have to be massive tax hikes to replace the falling revenue in the city.
Oh, really? Okay. So you mismanaged a absolutely beautiful, amazing city with great resources, infrastructure, rail, museums, universities, long-standing history of financial dominance in this country, Chicago. But yet you can't actually manage your books to the point where you're going, wow, it's so bad, we're at a point of no return. We're going to have to raise taxes. Who was not paying attention to that?
Well, and to be fair, he's fairly new. He's 6 months into the job.
No, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying how many administrations did not pay attention?
Right.
And you got one guy coming in, woo. It's kind of like Mayor Horn now looking at things actually from the inside out rather than from the outside in, going, oh, man.
It's worse than I thought it was going to be.
Here. And you appreciate the candor and the honesty because you're not solving problems acting like an ostrich, sticking your head in the sand while the world passes you by. Well, this just is going to balance itself out at some point. It's not how it works, and you know that.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, when it gets to that point, it takes going through tough times to get it straight.
Ask Detroit, yeah. Detroit's coming back around, but it went through absolute Hades to get to where it is today.
Didn't they actually at one point finally go ahead and have to declare bankruptcy as a city?
Yes, yeah. I don't remember if it was the whole city, the county, or what. I can't remember the exact layout of that, but yeah, the city went, kaplump like a rock in the water.
Yes.
And that's what when you get to that point of no return, friend, that's what you're dealing with in major cities everywhere. You just wonder how many of them were dealing with that. How many of them have been fudging numbers?
I'll tell you how many. Way more than we've heard about. Mm-hmm. That's how many.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my educated guess. There, of all levels, of all sizes, there are plenty of them out there that have been putting on the smiley face and doing what they wanted to do without any consideration for the financial future of the taxpayers whose money they are the stewards of. But sooner or later, the bills always come due.
Well, and the thing about the federal government, they can operate with the Fed doing Operation Twists and, reducing interest rates on loans that are, 10 years ago. Okay, well, let's refinance this thing back out 30 years at 3%. We were paying 5% and it's about to come due. You'll see a lot of that to actually free up money, lower the debt, those things. Cities don't necessarily have the same conduit. They do if they have great credit. But as you start losing revenue and you can't balance books, brother, let me tell you, this is a death spiral.
Yes, because in Chicago, perfect example, if they do a massive tax hike, guess what happens to the revenue as businesses go, nope, I'm out.
There you go.
Revenue goes down, which needs another big tax hike. And before you know it, there's 3 people in there passing around the same $20 bill, and that's all that's left.
You got that right, brother.
Well, took halfway through the show before my blood pressure started to rise. It's a good day here on Mornings. When we come back, Gregg Harper joins us. Keep it here.
From the Seabrook Bank. This segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Grab another cup of coffee and start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back. Super Talk Mississippi Mornings on a Friday morning. Dave Hughes here, and joining me now, former 3rd District Congressman from the great state of Mississippi. Haven't spoken to him in a while. Gregg Harper joins us. Greg, how you doing this morning, sir?
Dave, it's great to see you again and enjoying the show, and thanks for having me on. Looking forward to talking for a little while today.
Oh, yeah. It's, it's not like we have a shortage of things to talk about, is it? It's,
oh, my gosh.
It's been a busy 6 months, hasn't it?
You know, you have to say, Dave, who would have thought in 200 or so days that President Trump could do what he's done in that period of time? And, you know, one of the things that I think about too, Dave, is how devastating it was in the 2020 election. But on reflection, I think it's probably the best thing that ever happened to our country, because it allowed him to prepare for what was coming, get a exceptional team around him, and look at what's been accomplished in a little over 6-7 months. It's just, it's mind-boggling, really, isn't it?
Well, it reminds me of the old country song, Thank God for Unanswered Prayers, because I think we have a different President Trump now than we would have had in 2020.
I think you're absolutely right. And I'll say that the cabinet that he's put around him and the impact that he's having, I think it's the best, certainly in my lifetime, of what I've seen. And I just, look, it's hard for his friends to keep up with all that he's doing. I can't imagine the enemies have to be just, you know, their heads are spinning right now, because you can't predict what he's going to do next. But everything he's doing, it's just so good for the country. I'm super excited about what's going on right now, Dave.
The flood the zone offense works in football for a reason. When you give them too many things to try to concentrate on, they wind up not being able to focus on anything, and they lose effectiveness completely. And, you know, I think that probably is helping lead to the almost historically low approval numbers for Democrats right now. They're just running around directionless, it seems like, at times.
Well, you know, it wasn't that many years ago, maybe maybe 2 decades ago, you had the Blue Dogs, you know, the Democrats that were really, you know, basically Republican in their philosophy and thoughts. Well, those have all been beaten because they were in Republican districts, and they're gone. And the crazies have taken over. I mean, you look at Jasmine Crockett and what comes out of her mouth. I mean, really, she's kind of stolen the show from AOC. So it's high entertainment, and their tent gets smaller and smaller. And I think they're in total disarray right now. And they really don't have a leader to step up. It's not going to be. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's not going to return to leadership. We know that, and and sometimes you just have to sit back and watch. Don't help them, just watch. And so on the national scene, they're in the tank right now, and they really don't know what to do, and they don't have many options. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the old thing from Sun Tzu: never interrupt your enemy while he's making a mistake. Let him go. Let them do what they want to do.
Just eat popcorn and watch what's happening, right?
Now, we were talking in the last segment about President Trump announcing yesterday he was sending in federal agencies to not necessarily take over law enforcement in Washington, D.C., but certainly enhance it. As someone who has spent a significant amount of time in Washington, D.C., I want to get your take and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and Dave, look, having spent 10 years in office, and I've been up there, probably 2 or 3 times a month on average for the last 6.5 years. And you're always, a little cautious, but they have a serious problem in Washington, D.C., and it's worse in certain areas. But look at the poor family of the murdered intern, not that much earlier this year, and other instances of things that happened. But I'm shocked, honestly, that the mayor welcomed the help. That tells you, like you said, it's pretty serious if that's happening. But this means that the DC National Guard, ICE, other federal agencies can help increase that patrol. And look, I know you've alluded to it, but the Capitol Police in Jackson. That extra layer, it matters. So not only do we have the crime problem, you have the perception that's there too, and this is going to be a big help. And here's what we know: when Trump decides to do something, he doesn't do it in a small way. He's going to given the opportunity, I think he'll transform the District of Columbia into something that it really should be. And so I'm excited about it, and shocked and excited.
Well, and that is, I think you put your finger on something there when you talked about perception, because perception and crime rates are inextricably linked. If there is a perception that there's not a lot of enforcement, crime goes up. That this, I think, has the potential to have a big, oversized impact, depending on how it goes in this first 7 days. And I think it's going to go pretty well, would be my guess.
And look, it's not going to stop after 7 days, because they're going to see the effectiveness of it. And I won't say it'll be a permanent deal, but it'll be a long-term deal, I believe, as they try to work together and make it. I mean, look, it's got to be a safe place, and you cannot go around being concerned about it. So I think it's going to be, I think you'll see some real impact, and I think you'll see a decrease in criminal activity. For one thing, that perception works both ways. It works for, law-abiding citizens. It also works for the bad guys. And if they see that, hey, this is bad, they're going to find something else to do. And so you've got to be able to stop the crime. You've got to be able to incarcerate the folks that are there. And again, you can't change a felony to a misdemeanor or have a no bond situation. You've got to be able to hold them too. So there's still a lot to work out, but I'm excited, Dave, about the possibilities.
I think it's got a lot of potential, because to me, Washington, D.C. should be kind of the model city, the model metropolis for America, because so as goes the capital, so goes the rest of the country, I would think. And that needs to be something we can point to and go, that's how we should be doing things. And we haven't been able to do that for a little while now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dave. And that's true not only for our nation's capital, but it's true for the city of Jackson and our state capital. And so we're really excited about the opportunities for Senator Horn, now Mayor Horn, what he's going to be able to do. And look, he's in a unique situation. Not only does he have 2 United States senators that I think will work with him, he's got the benefit of having 2 United States congressmen, 2 House members, one Republican, one Democrat, with Michael Guest on the Republican side. I think that can be a great benefit for him as well.
Well, I let me just say, personal editorial comment here. I said it earlier in the hour. In my opinion, he's doing a wonderful job already. He's coming in and he's digging in the right places and uncovering the right things already, which I expected no less from Mayor Horn. So I think it's a good sign. It's a positive step, and we need more positive steps, because that's what leads us to positive outcomes, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree. Mayor Horn is already establishing himself and cares about the city, and I think we're going to see great benefits over the coming months and years. And I think he has the ability, by working with others and setting that tempo there in the city. Because look, as you said, as the city of Jackson goes, so the state of Mississippi goes. We can't just think it's going to take care of itself. So I think we've got great opportunities.
Well, we tried the taking care of itself method for a while. That went great. So, I think it's probably time to go in a different direction at this point. We're coming up on the break here in just a second. Can you stick around through the break? Because, as usual, I got to talking to you about important things, and I've talked about none of the things I intended to talk to you about. So, can you stick around for a few minutes? Fantastic.
Yeah,
we do have
love to. Thanks, Dave.
Do have the break coming up. I want to get your opinion, just to prep you in advance, on the latest information, the latest news about President Trump and his involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I want to talk about the banking situation, the debanking thing, which is something that kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people, but now it's been dragged into the light of day. And I think we're going to actually see some action in that direction. We'll continue talking to, by the way, I'll also be thinking about this, our question of the day. We talk about the best of this and that. What's the worst song ever, in your opinion? The one that's just like nails on a chalkboard when you hear it. Mine's It's a Small World.
You want it now or you want it after the break?
Sure. What you got?
Well, it's got to be, obviously nothing tops, It's a Small World. Okay, that's just, and because of what you've said now, I'm going to have to deal with that all day in my mind.
You're welcome.
But I would, it's got to be Puff the Magic Dragon. Okay.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Well, bad choice, but a good choice of a bad song. Yeah, we'll put it like that. We'll continue with Gregg Harper on Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi next.
From the Venable.
Take a deep dive into the news and debates driving the day, all on your ride to work. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
We go that extra mile for our special guests just to make sure they feel comfortable.
Now I've got to deal with two bad songs all day. I mean,
we may come up with a third one before we're done with this segment.
I'm sure there are others, but that was a bad one.
Full disclosure, as soon as we went to break, I texted Lance and said, you know what we got to bump in with now, right? And he said, beat you to it. So it was a joint effort. You're welcome.
I like the way you threw joint in there, too, with people.
It's on Lance.
Yeah, it's on Lance. I'll agree with that, Greg. Everything is Lance's fault. Former 3rd District Congressman from Mississippi, Gregg Harper, with us. Now we're getting word that the Russian delegation has said they have received an offer from America to bring a halt to the Ukrainian conflict that they find acceptable. And next week, Trump and Putin are going to meet, supposedly. Maybe. We'll see. What are your thoughts on all of this and where we're at right now?
Well, there are lots of overriding concerns on this. That's good news, first of all, Dave. I consider that encouraging news. I mean, the killing in Ukraine, Russian and Ukrainians, it's been an awful story. It continues. It's a high cost of human life. But the overriding concern is Russia and communist China have been playing a little too close together. Now, we can't trust either one of them, and they can't trust each other. But you don't want to see them working together on things. So I think you'll see Trump try to improve the relationship with Russia and Putin, as opposed to trying to work closer with communist China, maybe create a little separation between the two countries, which I think would be a good thing. But at some point, you've got to bring the war in Ukraine to an end. And look, this all began because you remember now former President Biden, he may not remember, but when he said if it was just a minor incursion, well, we weren't going to be too worried about that. Whereas if, Trump had been president, he said, you better not set foot on the Ukrainian soil. And they wouldn't have. So that's how we began this. And it's, continue with a lot of problems. So I think it's a good thing. Now, I know from a protection of the president's standpoint, they really want more than a week to set a meeting up. They need a couple of weeks. So I believe it'll happen, that there'll be a face-to-face meeting. And hopefully this will give Putin needs an exit strategy as well. So perhaps Trump can give him one that he can save face, claim his victory or whatever, and then move on and just stop the nonsense that's been going on.
Now, the one thing, though, that concerns me about this and the percentage of success for this entire process is that Zelensky is not involved in this. This will be between Putin and Trump. He can still step forward and blow any deal up that is brought about, depending on how he reacts to it, can't he?
Well, I feel certain that Zelensky's already been prepped on what his position needs to be and what his reaction needs to be. Ukraine can't survive without some U.S. help, and so I think he's going to do what the White House tells him. So I don't think he's going to be a real factor, and I think at the end of the day, whatever the deal, if there's a deal, whatever it is, Zelensky will. Even if he has to hold his nose, he'll say, "Yeah, that's a good deal," and hopefully we can get this wrapped up, at least within the next month, Dave. Let's bring it to a close, and it fits with what Trump said. To end, don't have these forever wars, and I think it fits right in with him. But it's going to be Trump's one of his bigger challenges, I believe. But I believe he can get there.
Well, it has been so far, definitely. And hopefully we can see an end to it because, let's put it like this. For this to come to an end, we're going to have to reach what I would consider to be a classic deal, which is that no one feels like a complete winner at the end of the deal. Everybody gives up something as part of the deal, and like you said, just kind of holds their nose a little bit and moves forward to bring it to an end. And I think that's going to have to be part of this process too, isn't it?
Yeah, that makes that's a great statement, Dave, because here's the thing. If both sides are angry, it's usually an okay deal, and that could be where we wind up. Now,
let me ask you, because we're running out of time here.
All right.
The fair banking practices, President Trump signed an executive order basically doing away with the possibility of debanking people for their political feelings. Just in 30 seconds or less, what are your thoughts on that?
It's about time, and we know what they've done. What they did against Trump was at J.P. Morgan and Bank of America back in 2021 tried to basically end his ability to do business. We've seen it with conservative groups. Go talk. I think Bass Pro Shop. There were a lot of conservative groups that had to deal with the banks trying to make life much more difficult for them.
Former Representative Gregg Harper, always enjoy talking to you, my friend. Stay busy, stay as awesome as you are, and we'll hopefully talk again real soon, okay?
Look forward to it, Dave. Have a great weekend.
This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross brought to you by MWG Employer Services. You can call 601-206-7966.
From Duck Hill to Alligator, Mississippians start their day the right way. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, Super Talk, Mississippi Mornings on this Friday morning. Dave Hughes here, and joining us now, the Deputy Director of the Tupelo CVB, on the first day of a big week in Tupelo. Jennie Bradford joins us as we get cranked up with Tupelo's Elvis Festival. Jennie, how you doing this morning? Oh, did we lose Jennie?
I got it fixed. We're good.
Okay. You there now, Jennie?
There we go. We had a little hang up there.
Okay. We something locked up on us somewhere in there, I think. Jennie, how you doing this morning? I think she is.
Something froze up on her.
I think she is frozen there, Lance.
Give me flip it back over. I'll touch base with her. We'll get right back.
Yeah, that's no problem. She possibly just intentionally disconnected when you didn't play Elvis to bump us in.
Well, that's not a bad song, though. So
yeah, well,
there
true.
she is. She's back with us. Hold on just a second. Let me flip it back over. She had a little froze action.
It happens. Oh, how it happens on a regular basis. Technology is wonderful right up until it isn't. Jennie Bradford with us now we could have just left your frozen picture up there and just, pretended
We've had
for
a couple
while.
of those with Richard Cross in the, thinking hard moment, and it fries and you're like, no, let's flip that over.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. Jennie, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you all so much for having me this morning.
Most definitely. Well, the Tupelo Elvis Festival starts today, right?
Well, actually, what we're doing today, we are unveiling a new marker on our Elvis Tupelo driving tour. So this is actually Elvis Week in Memphis kicks off. And so, of course, we partner along with our friends at Graceland to celebrate the legacy of Elvis Presley. We have a big fan day coming up at the Elvis Presley birthplace tomorrow. But today at 10 o'clock this morning, we are unveiling a new marker, the 15th marker on the Elvis Tupelo driving tour at Relics Antique Marketplace. And this was the former Tupelo garment factory where Gladys Presley worked while she was pregnant with Elvis.
Now, what are some of the stops on that driving tour?
So right now, after 10 o'clock this morning, it will take you to 15 different places. So we want you to go see Tupelo Hardware Company, where Elvis got his first guitar. Tupelo Hardware actually turns 100 next year, and it's the 80th anniversary of that famous purchase. Right now, we have a pop-up visitor center there, so you can go learn more about the Elvis Tupelo story, the Tupelo Hardware legacy, and more about what to do in our community. The tour also takes you to places like Johnny's Drive-In, which is the oldest restaurant in Tupelo, and they turn 80 in October of this year. So you got to go sit in the Elvis booth, eat a good old Johnny burger, a good North Mississippi dough burger, and have a milkshake and eat like Elvis did. And then it takes you to some of the schools he attended, takes you to Lee County Library, where you can see his first library card on display. So you really get to know the boy who became the world's greatest entertainer on this tour.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Most of this stuff is recognizing points in his life where nobody knew who he was outside of Tupelo. He was just this kid.
That's right. He lived in Tupelo until he was almost 14. So these were his formative years. This is where he learned his morals and values and really helped shape him into the man he would become. So we take you to all kinds of places to learn about that. And then people love just to experience the small town atmosphere when they're in Tupelo to get to know Elvis. And then they're always surprised by what a great city we have here in Tupelo.
Well, and a lot of people get to experience that surprise. I know you have tourism throughout the year, but this week especially, you're going to have an influx of folks wanting to come to see where Elvis was born and where he grew up, aren't you?
Absolutely. We say that we celebrate Elvis every day, but we celebrate Elvis mostly in January when he was born, in June during the Tupelo Elvis Festival, and then again with our partners in Memphis for Elvis Week each August. So each of those bring lots of visitors. We have international visitors, people from all over the world who come to see the birthplace of Elvis, and then everyone in between.
Do you have any idea, just a rough estimate, the number of countries that we have had people come to Tupelo from just to experience Elvis's birthplace? Any rough guess?
I'm not sure of the exact number of countries. The birthplace will track that and tell us when we have people from different places. Our top feeder market is the UK, of course, followed by the rest of Western Europe, Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand. We see a lot of visitors from there. Brazil, the second largest Elvis fan club in the world, is in Brazil. So we've actually translated our Elvis Tupelo driving tour into 8 different languages that you can access on our website at tupelo.net, or you can pick up a brochure at the Elvis Presley birthplace. So we want to make sure that all those folks coming in that can have that same Elvis Tupelo experience if they don't speak or read English.
Well, are there some communication challenges you have to overcome when you have one of these weeks where you have a huge influx of tourism from all around the planet into Tupelo? A little trouble both sides understanding each other?
Well, we have those translator brochures and that helps, but, Elvis is kind of universal. He's one of the most recognized names in the world, and it's amazing to see the reactions they have to that tiny little home in East Tupelo. So that is just, you don't need a translator for that.
That's a very good point. Very good. Now, you're unveiling the 15th marker today. Anything else planned for the week in conjunction with what's going on in Memphis?
So we always sort of kick off the week here in Tupelo with Fan Appreciation Day so that people can get to Memphis for all the festivities. We do have the winner of our Tupelo Elvis Festival Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Contest is headed to compete this week in Memphis as part of the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist competition. So we wish him best of luck and know he will represent Tupelo well. So we're excited for that. And then, of course, we'll have some representatives up there just to be a part of the festivities and make sure everybody remembers to come see where the story all started in Tupelo.
Now, one thing that I do want to take a moment, because we are talking about Elvis for obvious reasons, and that's usually one of the first things that comes to mind when you mention Tupelo, is like, oh, Elvis, that's where Elvis is from. There's a lot more to Tupelo than just that. How are things going with the CVB?
They're going great. You know, we just had a big Southern Zone swim meet last week, big baseball, softball tournaments. We have a really strong sports program here. We have meetings and conventions throughout the year. We're also the headquarters of the Natchez Trace Parkway, which is one of the top 10 most visited national parks in the country. And in November of 2026, we will open the Chickasaw Heritage Center, which the Chickasaw Nation is coming back to the heart of their homeland to tell their story from their perspective through a $60 million interpretive center on the Natchez Trace Parkway. So that's going to be as big as Elvis when they open next year.
That is fantastic. So it's fair to say there's a lot going on in Tupelo.
Most definitely.
Very good. And now, after this, the next big Elvis celebration will be coming around again in January, right?
Right.
Do you
His
have
birthday
plans?
is January 8th.
Do you have plans that you're already working on?
We're always working on plans, but we will work with our friends at the Elvis Presley birthplace to make sure that we celebrate his birthday in the best way possible. So it's, you know, kind of a slow time right after Christmas, but it's a wonderful time to come visit and be a part of the birthday celebration at the birthplace.
All you got to do is make the trip. It's a short trip, and there is a lot to see and a lot to do in Tupelo, Mississippi. And let me just say that you guys up there in Tupelo do a fantastic job, as especially for one particular group on the planet, being ambassadors for the state of Mississippi. Because for a lot of people, you talk about New Zealand and Australia and France and Germany and Spain and all across the UK coming here. That might be all they know about Mississippi before they make the trip, is that Elvis was born in Tupelo, and I suspect you send them off with a little more information about our state than that by the time they leave, don't you?
We absolutely do. We know that those international visitors aren't just coming to spend their 2-week vacation in Tupelo. We want to make sure they know that the blues was born in the Mississippi Delta, and that the final battle, or one of the most decisive battles of the Civil War, was in Vicksburg. And you can see those wonderful homes in Natchez, and then go spend a few days chilling out on the coast, because there's just so much to see and do in our state. And we love that we get them here for Elvis, that we, you know, exceed their expectations, and then they just get to have wonderful food and 5-star experiences all the way through our state.
They show up excited, send them home smiling. That's all you can do. Jennie Bradford, enjoyed talking to you. Have a good time with the unveiling of the 15th marker. You already planning a 16th at some point in the future?
Of course. We're always planning something.
Yeah. Something is always up her sleeve is what she's saying here, and that's a very good thing for Tupelo and for Mississippi. Jennie Bradford, Deputy Director of the Tupelo CVB, thank you so much. I would wish you good luck, but you don't need it because you're working too hard. Good luck just happens automatically.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon. We continue on mornings on this Friday morning right after this on Super Talk Mississippi. Keep it here.
So when I dropped it in the mailbox, as in a special deed.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Mississippi, you're starting your day off right. Welcome to Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Everybody, yeah. Rock your body, yeah. Everybody, yeah. Rock your body right. Back streets back, all right.
Okay, I'm taking the heat for this one. I'm the one that started worst song ever, What's Your Opinion? And now I have triggered Lance and he is digging through the deep, dark, cobweb-infested recesses of the music library and dragging out some real stinkeroos.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one there. Backstreet is back. All right. And the worst video of all time, mind you. If you haven't seen it in a while, please do yourself a favor. Go check it out.
Now, let me preface this by saying there was a female involved. But once upon a time, I went to a New Kids on the Block concert in Jackson when they were hot.
Yeah.
I did not want to be there.
You had to try it out, though, Got to see if you like that stuff.
No, I am
really.
just, I am familiar with bread. I know which side it's buttered on. Yeah. Somebody really wanted to go. I went.
Hey, I went to an Alanis Morissette concert once, so yeah.
There you go.
It wasn't bad.
I would take that over New Kids on the Block.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. That's a way step up.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing. Texas. Let's talk about Texas for a moment, shall we?
Always fun to talk about Texas.
This is getting stupider by the minute from the Democratic perspective. For those who haven't been keeping up, congratulations on your peace of mind. I'm going to wreck it now. You had about 50 Texas Democratic House members who fled the state, ran like scared little girls, so they wouldn't have to vote on a redistricting map. They went to Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker up there, who owns properties all over the place, is basically giving them asylum, for lack of a better term. Now, we've had Governor Greg Abbott, Attorney General Ken Paxton. They have put out arrest warrants for these folks, but they're only good in Texas. But now they've applied to have with the Supreme Court in Illinois to have some reciprocity and have their arrest warrants recognized in Illinois for these representatives. Now, the latest shot fired across the bow here. The Speaker of the House in Texas, Dustin Burrows, put out a memo yesterday, said, effective immediately, any member who is absent from the House for the purpose of preventing quorum will be required to collect their monthly paycheck and per diem check in person at the House business office with direct deposit suspended for them. Anybody who is there and doing their job that they were elected to do, direct deposit continues. Now we're going to hit them in the pocketbook. Last time they pulled this a couple of years ago. Last time they pulled this, that's what brought it to an end. They ran out of money. Because you cannot go on you can't go on a permanent vacation. Room service ain't cheap. So
most of these folks probably have other jobs that they have to tend to, much like most all of our state legislators. You don't get paid enough to just work for the people for a couple of months. So what are you going to use up all your vacation, all that big pile of cash you've been saving for the beach trip? You're going to go hide out in Illinois instead of doing your job? Priorities are a little flipped around.
We are now to the point to where the Democratic Party, almost across the board, has become solely performative. You look at the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who has been celebrated by the Democrats. The Democratic leadership celebrated, said what a great man he is, what a great thing he was doing, because they would be debating a bill that everybody knew was going to pass, and he gets up and gives an 18-hour-long speech against it. Number one, have you ever tried talking for 18 hours? Mechanically, kind of impressive. Gonna admit it.
Yeah, mechanically, right. I mean,
give credit where it's due.
The plumbing set up there.
Yeah. Did he have to go to the bathroom?
Or
Depends.
Is he a robot? That was the other question.
Yeah, well, no, he'd have more personality at this point. If you've seen some of the Optimus robots, he would at least have some, human-like mannerisms.
Yeah, some qualities.
He got up there and he did that. For what? Everybody knew the bill was going to pass once he finally ran out of gas, which he was always going to do. It was always going to happen. They then held the vote and then passed the bill, both times that he pulled this. So he accomplished nothing, but they are celebrating him like he did. Same thing here. This is the third time since 2000 Democrats in Texas have pulled the same stunt, and it has stopped nothing. It has affected nothing. This is purely performative. They're singing to the choir. They're playing for the home crowd so that they can get pats on the back for their great uprighteous stand on morals, and they're accomplishing nothing. So much of the Democratic Party, and start looking at it through that lens. What they say, how they act, what they sponsor, what they do, it's all performative at this point because they have no substance left.
And they use the moral authority, the moral high ground, as if it's some kind of battle, where they have they're entrenched on top of the hill and they're pointing the finger down at you saying, this is the only way you can do this, or you're this, the name callings and the childish behavior. Well, hey, if we don't get our way, we'll just take our toys and go to the house.
Well,
it's very easy to see that, this is not professional behavior,
in the case of
leaders.
Yeah, in the case of Hakeem Jeffries, it's you're going to do what I say, or I'm going to keep talking and demanding you do until you finally do.
Right. It's like an interrogation. You just keep interrogating long enough till they finally go, look, I give up. Yeah, what did you want me to agree to? Okay. That's the strategy.
I have seen the comparison drawn by elected officials, both in Texas and other places, that what the Democrats in Texas are doing is akin to a child saying, no, I'm going to hold my breath until I die. Mm-hmm. Well, have at it. Let me know how that turns out for you. This is going to turn out the same way it turned out the first two times. You're going to do all this, and you're going to accomplish nothing. But this goes back to one of my favorite things I talk about all the time. Again, I'm as tired of saying it as you are of hearing it, but this is where we're at now. Democrats are focused on process. Republicans are focused on results. Focusing on results is the way, to use the sports analogy, that's the way you win games. Not the process. It's not how you get there, it's getting there. And then once you decide that's what you're trying to do, you build the process to make it as easy as possible to reach that result you're going for. The Democrats know they're not going to get their result. They know they're not going to accomplish anything, but they still go through with their same old, tired, repetitive process over and over and over because to them, the process is the most important part of governance, not results, not good things for the people, the process. As long as we touch second base and call that dude a girl, we're good.
Well, and I remember I'm trying to, if it was Warren Buffett or Munger or one of those guys, and they were interviewed, it was back in the 80s or 90s. And so how do you look at a company? How do you go into a place and know that you've got the right fit and the right culture? So you talk to the managers, and if when you present them with change, they say, well, man, we've always done it this way. That's when you start firing people or you take your money elsewhere. When the process is broken and you stick to it, like it's your teddy bear you slept with as a kid, that's your best friend is the process, and you know that it's broken, run as fast as you can away from that.
Yes, because you have people in charge that are focused on process, not on results. And in the business world and in all worlds, the only thing that matters are the results. That's it. There is no second place even. That's it. What do you get? When you put in whatever you're going to put in, what comes out of the magic governance machine? If it's not positive results for the taxpayers, well, you put the wrong stuff in. Maybe you ought to shake it up. That is a foreign concept to the liberal mind.
I think another one that really hits to me at times is in a sports analogy where you look at, say, the WNBA, demanding higher pay, wanting all this and all this equality, but yet you lose money like the Titanic was sinking. Without another business subsidizing you, you would not be in business. yet you want higher pay. You want to be taken seriously and all that. Isn't that what we're talking about here, really, is taken from over here to make you feel good over there?
Yes, exactly. And before the players get a raise, I think they're going to have to get the janitorial staff a raise for the cleanups they keep having to do out there. That's hazardous material at this point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially since they had another one last night, and they had a no-bag policy. Let's not contemplate how they got it into the court.
Good point.
Let's not think about it.
Good point.
They didn't bring it in a bag, so where did they have that stored? I'll put it like that.
From the SeabrookBank.com. Want to know what's being said in the halls of the Capitol? You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross continues on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back. So, how am I supposed to do anything remotely serious with the caterwauling that is currently in my ears?
I love that
I dropped
song.
my paper I was going to read from and everything.
Man, I love Soul Glow. That's some good stuff.
Holy cow. Somebody let that cat out of that clothes dryer or at least turn it off. The poor thing's suffering. Holy cow. Sports Talk Mississippi, their Not Fall Camp Tour continues this coming week. On Wednesday, there'll be a Two Brothers Smoked Meats in Starkville. A lot of giveaways. I got some great giveaways, by the way. So that's the next one, brought to you by Pearl River Resorts. You can go to pearlriverresort.com to find out more information. I have completely lost my train of thought now. Not that I had much of one to begin with. It was more of a monorail. It wasn't actually a train, but still. I do have a question for you, Lance. Why is James Carville still relevant?
He's still alive?
Yes, he's still alive. He's got a podcast. Everybody has a podcast.
Yeah, I thought I was watching The Crypt Keeper from HBO when I saw him the last time. Yeah.
Yes, he hasn't
That's
been
actually
proved.
James Carville. Okay, gotcha.
Well, he... James Carville, Al Hunt, they have a political podcast, and he has had to issue a retraction. I'm going to read it to you. In last week's podcast episode, we spoke with Judd Legume. After the episode, we received a letter from Melania Trump's lawyer. He took issue with our title of one of those YouTube videos from that episode and a couple of comments I made about the First Lady. We took a look at what they complained about, and we took down the video and edited out those comments from the episode. I also take back these statements and apologize. The statements in question, he said that the First Lady Melania Trump was part of an international sex trafficking network.
Yeah. You can just say whatever you want these days, as long as it's directed at Republicans and conservatives.
Yes.
It's fair game, man. Say whatever you want.
Yeah, but that's a great way to lose your late night TV talk show, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I put a post on Twitter, was it yesterday? I was like, well, or a couple days ago. So, well, if Donald Trump is going to be Hitler, I guess is J.D. Vance Himmler? I mean, is DeSantis going to be Goring? Is that where we're going with this?
Who's Goebbels?
Yeah, who's
Goebbels?
Who's Goebbels? Albert Speer, we were wondering who that would be, the architect advisor. But, I mean, how insane is it when that is your talking points, really? I mean, come on. That's how your brain works. I think you fried it, honestly. And as Trump said the other day, they're all eat up with Trump derangement syndrome. Never seen anything like it quite as much, but it is interesting.
Yes, he could save a bus full of burning nuns, and they would complain about the impact to the environment. Evil Trump has done it again.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
You got to have a boogeyman. I get that. And you got to have somebody to point your frustrations and blame everything on. But taking it to that level where you are purposefully trying to incite hatred. Isn't that a hate crime? I mean, weren't there people getting prosecuted for this stuff, mainly white folk, that were doing bad things to colored people? And I get it, but why is it okay now? I guess is my question. Because it's the shoes on the other foot?
Look, it's not okay now. Look at their approval ratings. Look at the fact that Howard Stern's not being picked back up by Sirius XM. Look at Stephen Colbert, his contract not being renewed. He's done in May. I still say it's going to be earlier than that. But, yeah, people are losing all over the place for continuing to push this narrative, but you have to remember something. Go back to what I said a minute ago about Democrats and the liberal mindset are 100% about the process. Well, guess what? This process, they feel, worked for them for a while, but now things have changed. Now Sydney Sweeney is selling jeans, and they can't adjust their process because you don't adjust it. That's all they have in terms of self-identity. So instead of adjusting it and changing tacks and going in a different direction, they lean into it harder and harder and harder because, well, this worked one time. This is our process. It's great. We just need more of it. That's it, guys. We just need more of it. And they're stunned when it doesn't work because they never even consider the results. It's all about the process. Same thing. Same thing right here. That is exactly what's going on. You want a good example of just where we're at. Now, I want you to process this for a second. This is in Natchez, okay? This is in Adams County. 2 suspects have been arrested on multiple charges. Allegedly, they stole a log truck.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
not a sports car.
No, the log truck, right?
The log truck. They stole a log truck from a gas station parking lot over on Highway 84.
What
were your plans for the log truck?
Did they own like a lumber mill or something? Yeah.
What were you planning? You gonna go pawn it? You gonna put it up on Facebook Marketplace? What was the grand master plan when you said, "Hey, see that log truck?
So yeah, we can sell this. If we can just get it out of here, we've got a guy down the road that wants to buy the log truck with the logs on it. We're good."
Yes, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we got this covered, man.
I just feel like it's embarrassing. Let me explain. There are bad people that do bad things for bad reasons. Always have been, always will be. As I continuously say, at one point there were 4 human beings on the planet, and one of them killed one of the other ones with a rock. I mean, it's baked into being a human being. Some of them stink. It's just the way it works. But I just feel like we're reaching a point to where bad people doing bad things, yeah, we're used to that for all of human history. But now bad people are doing stupid bad things. And that's almost embarrassing. Come on, at least have a little more sense than that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a head scratcher. You know, I mean, is it the world we live in? Maybe as somebody who uses Twitter really just for research, I've seen, or X now, I'm sorry, Grok, you know, all the new advertisements for Grok. Oh, well, you know, all these images, and you can create anything you want. And it's, 22 million yesterday. We're already up to 44 million images created here in the U.S., today. And I guess my question is when you choose to live in fantasy land and there's so much that continues to push you in that way, is that we dealing with some of the byproduct of that, where fantasy land is just more realistic now than reality? Where you can hide in it and you can run off and you don't have to do anything because guess what? AI is going to solve everything. We're going to be living in Mars before you know it.
And I get that, but at the same time, I lived through the same rhetoric about the introduction of home computers.
Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah,
I remember. That's why I'm asking is every new great thing is going to change the world forever.
At the risk of sounding like someone who only has a hammer, so therefore everything looks like the same nail, but it fits here. This is another example of process over results. Well, we want to do something. We want to get some money. How are we going to do it? Well, process. Let's steal something. Let's steal the first thing we can. The result is being able to get money out of it. I don't know how in the heck you plan to do that with a stolen log truck.
Yeah.
We didn't get past the first step, which was, what's the process?
Yeah, where's the pawn shop for that?
Yeah. What you going to do? You going to put it up on blocks?
Rogers Dabbs probably isn't taking that as a trade-in.
No, there are no trade-ins.
Cannon Motors is like, no, we're not working with that, guys. Just bring us something else.
You're not even going to be able to get market value for any logs that were on it. So There was no thought about the result. There was no, here is the result we want. So what process do we need to follow to do it? No, it was, let's steal something. Okay. Hey, look. There's a log truck. I just feel like now we're to the point to where the bad guys are starting to embarrass themselves, and I'm kind of getting a case of contact cringe watching as we slowly spiral down the whirlpool of IQ.
It's there's the guy on X, or he has his own stuff. It's Steve Inman. He's a UFC commentator, but he has a lot of the funny videos where it's really dumb criminals doing dumb things and smart people taking up for themselves. And it's increasing. The rate of stupidity amongst criminals seems to be increasing at a rate that is it's like Moore's Law. I mean, at what point do you run into where the microchip can't get any smaller? I mean, at what point can you do – there's not much more dumb stuff you can pull off. It's already been done.
Want me to give you a simple answer for why that's happening? I can. Some people aren't going to like it, but I can tell you, the dumb people are outbreeding the stupid people.
The movie Idiocracy, yeah.
When there's 3 lower-end intelligence people born for every 1 higher intelligence person, what does the overall smartness level do?
Doesn't go up.
Right. Yes, I will get emails because I said that. They'll be poorly spelled and lacking in punctuation, but I will get them. I have no doubt. Final segment on mornings. Well, this took a dark turn.
Get the inside track on Mississippi politics. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. Can't touch this. My music hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me. What a mind to run and do hype, it feels good when you know you're down. A super dope homeboy from the Oak Town, and I'm known as such, and this is you can't touch it. I told you, homeboy, you can't touch this. Yeah, that's how we living, and you know, can't touch this.
I love it.
I got the dance. I can see the dance in my mind.
The dance and the pants, baby.
The hammer pants, baby.
Hammer pants. I love them.
Please, for all that is good in this world, please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
Don't hurt him, Hammer. He will, though, if you're not careful.
You know, that was a different time, though.
Oh, my Lord, wasn't it?
Even the awful music from 30, 40 years ago was better than the best music now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that 100%.
Because and there's some music right now that I love, but it still, to me, does not compare to what we had back in the day.
Oh, no.
If you will.
I'm a big fan of the movies of the 50s through the 70s. You know, I love the 80s kind of slapsticky stuff and some of the cheaper made movies like Rad, you know, and BMX Bandits and things like that. We're like, how did they make this? I mean, was there one camera? But, you know, they still had a following and they were quality, but not what you see so perfect today. Everything's so refined. There's no roughness or natural anything. It seems it's all polished.
And as a result,
I like that as much, you know.
Yeah, as a result, there's no character.
I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it just doesn't have the backbone.
Well,
I watched a movie the other day, a cartoon, you know, with Charlton Heston. A great movie, you know. It's just one of those kind of forgotten movies. You go back and watch how it was all filmed and the roughness and everything. It's very compelling to watch movies that actually, and listen to songs that actually somebody did the work. You know, it wasn't a computer that did it.
Well, you know, you talk about movies from the 50s to the 70s. I'm going to take my wife on a little journey in that direction. She hasn't seen a lot of old movies. We watched one of my favorite old movies from back in the old Hollywood era, back in the 40s, His Girl Friday.
Yes.
Fantastic movie.
Well, like The Ambassador, a great movie, Robert Mitchum and Rock Hudson. There's some great movies out there that, I mean, we wouldn't even remember them today. Thank goodness for things like Tubi, where there's just this absolute warehouse of stuff you can go dig through that's historical. And I find that very compelling. I love that stuff,
Well, the movie came out, and I use the term movie extremely loosely. The new take on War of the Worlds, starring noted thespian Ice Cube, which currently is sitting at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I believe might be a bit high.
That's a record, probably.
And that started a discussion between me and my wife, and she talked about the Tom Cruise version that came out in, I think, 2003, 2005, somewhere around in there, and said it was great. And I said, well, I didn't even see that one. I was ruined by the original one. George Powell was the guy that put it together back in 1953, the original War of the Worlds movie.
Yes, I remember that.
That way, it used to, on Saturday afternoon, there was always some channel that was running it.
I remember, because I was like, what is this? Was this real? And then you learn as a kid it was a joke. And
but you watch it and you keep in mind this was in 1953. They were still proudly bragging that their movies were in color at that point. Proudly presented in Technicolor.
Technicolor, Panavision and Technicolor.
Once you look at the effects through that lens, from that perspective, it's just amazing what they pulled off with that movie. And how well they did it. And I don't know that anyone will ever beat that. Not even Ice Cube.
Not even Ice Cube.
Did you hear about the premise for that one, by the way?
No.
He's some sort of security guy. And
I've seen I don't know what it's all about, though,
The entire movie is him sitting in his apartment, keeping up with what's going on computer screens.
Interesting.
That's it. That's the entire thing. It's the entire movie, start to finish.
Somebody paid for that, too,
Well, Amazon paid for it. It's on Amazon Prime.
Well, I will say the best money laundering scheme out there has to be the movie world, Because nobody's watching half that junk that's being put out. But you go look at the budgets for this stuff. Somebody's cleaning some money through that industry. It always has, but it just seems to be really hitting a light speed now with all this junk coming out. And everybody's like, have you seen this? Of course I haven't. It's terrible.
I haven't. Which is a great reason. One thing I wanted to leave you with, President Trump was asked in an interview about the drones. We were talking about this last week and whatever happened to that with that.
And good, I forgot about that.
He responded, quote, I can't tell you who it was and what it was. I'd love to tell you, actually, but it's not it's not a big deal. It's not a problem at all. Well, okay. I'll sleep better tonight. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe I'll get abducted here tonight. Thank you, Trump.
Well, that's not the answer I was hoping for. Well, we have officially knocked another show in the head there, buddy.
Yes, sir. We tied it up. It's a Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, sir.
You too, my friend. Great job as always, except for the music choices. Actually, Monday I'll be back on middays starting at 10 a.m. Rhino, or if he took another day off, somebody else. I'll be here. That's all I know.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.